Okay, it's recording. Awesome. Okay. So a lot of you guys are going to be listening to the recording, and this is going to be a must watch because we have Julie Kemp on here, and I don't really know how we ended up connecting, just on Instagram. And that's what I love about this whole coach community. I don't know Julie personally. Like, we saw each other at Summit. We hugged each other. It was like, hi, I feel like I know you. And I think this business really just connects you to other like-minded women. And I was drawn to Julie too, because I just feel like she does a really good job on social media. I feel like I could connect to her story. I could connect to just every little thing that she was doing. And so, and that's the beauty of what we do, is that we're not competing. It's like, hey, what are you doing? You're having success. Like, would you mind popping on our call and sharing just how you've done it by being a new mama and starting off working full time, and just kind of going through all those changes too as you become a mom and you're trying to juggle this business, and when she was working full time too as a nurse. So just so you guys know, Julie is a 6-star diamond coach, and she just qualified again this year to be a 2-time elite coach, which is huge. And what else do you have here? You're a Success Club 10 all-star legend, which is incredible. And this year, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but I think it's important to know what this business is capable of in 3 years. This is her first year. It'll be a 6-figure year for her and her family. And she also has a 9-month-old Ezekiel. He is just adorable. So I'm going to let her take over and just kind of share her tips and how she stays consistent, social media tips and all that, and just really how she's seen success and what she does in this business. So, Julie, I'm going to go ahead and let you take over.
Yay! Thank you. Thanks for having me on, you guys. This is so fun. Such an honor. Like, Kelly has just been someone that I've watched for a long time. And like she said, we kind of just connected, and it's been so fun to like be Insta friends. I actually have a sister named Kelly. And one time I tried to FaceTime my sister, and I actually FaceTime Kelly, and she answered. She's like, hey, what's up? Oh, so funny. Okay. So anyway, spoiler alert, I'm probably not going to share something tonight that you haven't heard before, because isn't that like this business? But I hope that sharing just part of my story and how I've done it will inspire you, motivate you, give you some new things to implement into your own business, because I am such a firm believer that anybody can do this business. Like, age, size, where, like, you can do this business. And I know that you guys as a team are pushing for big goals at the end of the year right now. So just know, like, anybody is capable of doing this. And I really think that there's 2 things in my own business that have made me successful. And that's mindset, consistency, and I guess continually learning. Always, always, always being a learner, no matter how successful you are. And so a little bit of backstory on me. I was I guess I am a registered nurse, and was working full-time in the hospital, hating my life like most nurses, and just like looking for something else. So I got plugged in with a girl from high school, did her group, started coaching, and just kind of took it as my, like, this is now my plan A. When I signed up as a coach, it wasn't like, I'm going to give this 6 months and kind of see what happens, or like, if I start gaining traction, or if people want to join my group, like, then I'm going to go all in. It was like, okay, this is my plan. This is my way out, and I'm going to do whatever to make it work. I knew that there would be times in there where I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, or I messed up, or something didn't work. And no matter what those things were, I was going to learn and keep going. So 2 weeks after I signed up as a coach, my coach pieced out. And I didn't know anybody else. Like, I wasn't plugged into my upline. I didn't have any friends that were coaches. I was clueless. And she technically, like, still has her account even to this day there. So I've never, like, rolled up to another upline or anything. I've never had another coach placed underneath me. Like, it's literally been me, myself, and I. And so, like, I haven't had help, but I was resourceful, and I had YouTube, and I had Google, and I knew that if I wanted to make this work, I could. So I, probably a couple months into coaching, went to this random like conference in Tulsa, Oklahoma, of all places, where a guy named Josh Coates was speaking. And at the time, Josh Coates like wasn't this big name or anything yet. There was maybe like 200 people there. It was the first conference he'd ever put on. And there was a girl on stage who was 25, which is how old I was at the time, who said that she was making a six-figure income doing this business. So I was maybe a couple months into coaching. And I just remember looking at her and thinking, you're not like a fitness model. You're not Barbie. Like, you look no different than me. You're just an average Jane from Colorado who loves to hike and loves her dog and wants to earn money doing this business. And seeing her, like somebody just like me, inspired me to actually like put my head down and work hard and consistently. So the first book that I ever read as a coach, a personal development book, was The Compound Effect. And if you haven't read it or haven't read it in a while, you need to read it. And here's my favorite quote from that book. Get your pen out because this is good. It says, "What's simple to do is also simple not to do. The magic isn't in the complexity of the task, but in doing simple things repeatedly and long enough to experience the magic of compound effect." I'm going to say it one more time because it's so good. What's simple to do is also simple not to do, right? Like your power hour. It's really simple to do a power hour, but it's also simple to be like, oh, my kid woke up early, or I've got so much going on today, we're traveling, life's happening, whatever, and you don't, and so you skip. And maybe you skip one day and that's kind of like an oopsie, but you skip 2 days and it's like you're giving up on your dreams. And that's honestly the same thing that we tell our challengers, right? So what's simple to do is also simple not to do. The magic isn't in the complexity of the task, but in doing simple things repeatedly and long enough to experience the magic of the compound effect. I was not the coach who like became 10-star overnight. I just wasn't. Like, I was diamond in, 9 months time. I was there for a while. I didn't like explode. It wasn't like everybody knew my name. And honestly, that was okay with me. I wanted to sustainable business that was going to support my family. And sometimes we get like confused with this, that we think if everyone knows my name in the business, or if I lead a national wake-up call, like that's success. When really we started this business for most of us to support our families or to earn extra income or whatever it was. So like keep yourself grounded in that. I know that's so important for me. It may feel, you guys, sometimes like coaching is hard, but it's actually so simple. So simple. We show up for our own journey, we talk to people, and then we help them with their journey. That's literally it, you guys. It's so simple. And here's the thing with mindset. Quit telling yourself hard. Quit telling yourself that diamond or star diamond is such a lofty goal. Because when you tell yourself it's a lofty goal, it makes it that much harder to reach, because you're like, oh, I got to get 8 people signed up to coach under me, and then 2 of them have to go Emerald. This is going to take forever. When really, like, it doesn't have to be that hard. Do you know 8 people? Do you have 8 neighbors that would benefit from product or that might want to build extra income? Like, we tell ourselves it's so hard, and it's actually not. Quit telling yourself these things are so hard. Instead, shift your mindset to, this is so easy. I got this. We got this. Like, our team hitting elite, we got this, you guys. We got 2 more days to sign people up. Totally can do this. And what we focus on expands. And that is your power hour. It doesn't have to be pretty, but you do have to show up for it every single day. Every single day. And I know a lot of you guys are moms in here, and moms were busy. I get it. I had a incredibly hard C-section in January. And I was really nervous that January and February were going to be like really low Success Club months for me. I kind of was just like, I'm going to hit 6. Like, I'm going to at least get Success Club 6, hit it, and I'm going to be proud of myself if that happens. And then I had my surgery, was in a ton of pain, had a brand new baby that I had no idea what I was doing. But I found pockets of time to work. And honestly, you guys, those times were so like relieving for me to talk to other adult humans. And so when I was breastfeeding, I had, 10 minutes to respond to messages. I could have just been scrolling my phone, reading mom blogs, or I could have been building my business. And so in January, I ended up at like Success Club 36. And in February, I think I was at 50. So quit telling yourselves these excuses of why you can't do something and start looking for the outlets of where you can be building and where you can be inviting people into your business. I wanted to share with you guys what my power hour looked like when I was a brand new coach, sort of, for the first year and a half. So like I said, the first year and a half of my business, I was working full-time as a nurse. I was a newlywed. I was teaching insanity classes 2 days a week, and I was also volunteering for this high school ministry. So like I said, I was busy. Like I didn't have all these extra time in my day. But I didn't have a Netflix subscription. I didn't scroll social media. Every spare time I had, I was using it to build my business. And I think sometimes we need to do like a gut check, reality check with ourselves, because sometimes I'll hear people be like, I just can't get anybody to sign up, or I can't get my invites out. And I'm like, okay, where in your day are you doing this? Who are you talking to? Because it's so easy to be like, oh, we watched the entire season of Stranger Things, but you didn't spend any time working your business, and then you wonder why it's not growing, or you're not hitting diamond or hitting these goals. So give yourself a little bit of reality check. Okay, I'm gonna show you my really beautiful power hour. You guys see this? Thumbs up. Yes. So the business activity tracker wasn't a thing when I first started coaching. So I bought this like $5 notebook at Target, and this is literally what my power hour looked like. And I show you this for a couple of reasons. One, to show you how simple it was. Two, to show you that this little ugly piece of paper built a 6-figure business. And three, to show you that my numbers weren't huge. I wasn't inviting 26 people a day. I think sometimes people like look at these training videos and they're like, Mandy Kai is inviting 50 people a day. I have to do that. I'm like, yeah, if you have time for that, great. I would burn out so fast doing that, so fast. So I was inviting minimum 3 people a day, sometimes more than that, never less than that. And I knew I could do that consistently. So like, give me a box, I'm going to check it off. And this is what I did every single day, Monday through Friday, from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then I would do my like quiet time, prayer time from 6 to 7, go to the clinic, teach insanity classes in the evening, and then come home and check on the challenge group one more time. So this was like 45 minutes of my day, maybe 30 minutes in the evening. That's it, you guys. Literally, that is it. Like, this is what built my business. But I never missed a day. Never, ever missed a day. Not once. Like, I was not missing. You have to show up so consistently and know that each day, even if it doesn't feel like you gained a ton of momentum that day, or you didn't have anybody sign up yet, you showed up, you did your work, you're taking one step forward, and you're relying on the compound effect over time to build your business. I cannot even begin to tell you how many people a year later, 2 years later, have now joined my accountability group or joined my team of coaches when I had invited them at the beginning, and they didn't either respond, they said no, but they kept watching. And if you, after 6 months or a year, quit showing up, then like you just missed the opportunity to help that person and change their life. So you've got to keep showing up for yourself consistently, even if it looks so simple and not pretty. You guys, like, I am not the Canva girl, I'm not the graphics girl, but you better believe I'm showing up every single day. It might not be pretty, but I'll be there. Okay. If you guys have like comments or questions as we're going, feel free to type them in the chat. So decide when in your day you're committing to your power hour. And I know you guys are like, yeah, power hour, but like truly, when have you been showing up for your power hour? Is it in your calendar? Like, is it scheduled as a meeting that you cannot miss? This is your job. If you are trying to make even like a hobby income with this, it's a job. And if you're not showing up for your work meetings, if you were your boss, would you fire you? Because I know that there are plenty of times in my business that I probably would have wanted to fire some of my coaches because they weren't showing up like it was their job. So if you were your boss, would you fire you? Put it in your calendar. I literally have it scheduled on my calendar, power hour, like a meeting that I don't miss, and commit to it. I did it from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. every weekday when I was working full time. Now, as a mom, I do it during nap time. I got a pretty consistent morning nap that I know I can at least show up for an hour. It doesn't have to be complicated or a ton of work all at once, but you do have to show up consistently and fearlessly. Okay, I was looking at, I just want to touch on real quick, two last things. A little bit on inviting, because I feel like sometimes team to team, this can look a little bit different, and it's kind of fun to like cross-contaminate how we invite. And then I want to touch on social media as well. So real quick, just for fun, I want to show you guys what my invites looked like for my new coach. Just so you like have a little bit of perspective, because I sometimes think we forget where we started. Oops, not that. All right, can you guys see these screenshots? Here are my invites when I was like brand new baby coach. Like pretty sure this was the day after I signed up that I sent this. Word vomited on her, like just, this is a weird invite. I hadn't talked to this girl in like multiple months. And the funny part is 10 days later, she responded to me and wanted to be in my group. Doesn't have to be pretty. It works. Man, I got a frog in my throat. Okay, here's another invite that I had sent maybe, I don't know, 6 months later. And I had randomly chatting with this girl. And then all of a sudden I said, hey, this is random, but we're starting another health and fitness group. Like out of the blue. She didn't say anything about health and fitness. So awkward. And I show you that because it's vastly different from this. This one did not work at all. No response. But I was just trying new things to see what would work. And if it didn't work, I didn't consider myself a failure. I just moved on to something new. But if you never try and fail forward, you're never going to find what works for you. So now, here is what is working really well for me. So to my lukewarm market, to my super warm market, which never, ever, ever get out of your warm market. Like keep circling back to them until all of your friends, all of your family, all of your sorority sisters are in your challenge group. The worst thing that could happen is you find out that another coach has signed them up. That has happened to some of my coaches, and you just like want to vomit because those are your people. So I talk to them like they're my friend, my teammate. I'm not going to be like, hey, let me coach you. I'm going to say something that I would just say to them in person. If my friend was sitting across from me at the table or we were on a walk, what would I say to them? And for me, it sounds like, hey, I need you. I'm committing to a 100-day program through the end of the year. Do you want to do it together and hold each other accountable? Like so not slimy. I'm not vomiting like details all over her. So my super warm market, I'm going to say something so simple like this. So simple. And then here's what's been working really well for me. Like in that prior message when I was like talking to that girl and then I just like randomly transitioned. Here's what I say now to people when I am talking to them and then I want to transition the conversation. I say, hey, I am so sorry I didn't think to invite you sooner, but I run a monthly accountability group for women working towards their faith and fitness goals. You would be a great addition to our group. I'm happy to send you more info if you'd like. And one thing that I do, you guys, that I think is so helpful when I'm doing invites is one, if it's a written invite, say it out loud before you send it. If it sounds weird when you say it out loud, it probably sounds weird when they're reading it. And if it's too much information. So say it out loud. Another thing that has worked so well for me and my team right now is voice messages and video messages. So many girls on our team are having great luck with video messages. Just like a 15-second clip being like, hey, here's like 2-second info on our group. And they just record one clip for the day and can like mass invite that. So those are what are working super well for me. And then once I get to this point and then they say, yes, send me more info, at that point now I have started saying, what's your email? I'll send you all the details. Moving to email has changed my life, like so much easier. My Instagram inbox was just like exploding and I couldn't keep up. Email is where it's at. So if you're someone who struggles with organization in your Instagram messages, highly encourage you to move to email. So much easier to write like long, detailed messages, which on Instagram people just might not read. So switching to email has been a big game changer for me. Okay, and then while we're talking about Instagram, the other things that I wanted to share about your social media. So I had to think a little bit about this because my Instagram has grown and I feel like I have pretty good engagement on it. And I kind of didn't know why I even had that. So I had to really think about like, what am I doing that's making that work? And I think a couple of things. One, Instagram look like every other Beachbody coach's Instagram. Like truly. And even just like on your team, does your Instagram look like every other coach on your team's Instagram? Not saying that those are bad, but why does somebody need to sign up with you as their coach if they have 20 of you that they can choose from? You need to figure out what's making you you. Why are you valuable to that person? What story do you have to share that they're going to connect with? And I need you to like really hone in on that. For me, it's obviously being a new mom, which lots of new moms. That does not in and of itself make me special. 2, I share a lot about my C-section. It was like kind of life altering for me. It was really hard. And I know like Kelly's had 3 C-sections like a boss. And I'm pretty messaged her after and I was like, help, I'm dying. But I've connected with so many other women who have gone through something traumatic like a really hard C-section. So those right now, baby-led weaning right now, in and of itself doesn't make me stand out. Combine it with the other things that are specific to me, and I've connected with a lot of women there. Notice that these have nothing to do with health and fitness. Nothing. I am a firm believer that Instagram should reflect mostly just you and your family and the things that are important to you with health and fitness sprinkled in. So the majority of my like workouts and coaching stuff is actually on my story. I hook people into being friends with me and then they see my story and probably every like 5th or 6th post is coaching or specifically fitness related. Obviously it's like breadcrumbed in there a little bit because I'm getting to be at home and like getting to do things that I wouldn't normally be able to do if it weren't for coaching. So it's sort of sprinkled in, but the engagement I get on like just pictures of my family is ridiculous. And I'm kind of like, come on people, but that's just the nature of it. So at this point, I have actually moved to posting every other day, which like when we were, I don't know when you guys signed up, but when I first signed up as a coach, they were like post 3 to 5 times a day, which now just seems like absurd. So I try to keep changing with Instagram as it's changing. So for me right now, posting every other day is what's gaining me the most followers, what's increasing my engagement. If I post every single day, it doesn't happen. I don't know why, but it doesn't. But on my stories, I'm like on there all the time, talking, posting my workouts, sharing my family, sharing what we're doing with baby-led weaning. Breastfeeding did not happen for me, so I was sharing all about pumping on there. And that's where people get to see kind of into your life. And Kelly does a great job of this too. But like I said, I am like mostly like just sharing like Julie and like the Kemp life, sprinkled in with how coaching and my workouts are just fitting into that. And I really think that that is, I don't know, why I've like gained a lot of friends on Instagram. And then the other thing I think that has gained a lot of like traction and I don't know, engagement is I comment on everybody's posts. Like I like skip liking because like nobody knows if you've liked their post. So yay that it like increases their like amount, but they didn't even see my profile because of it. But if I comment something with a question on every post that I'm scrolling past, people start to notice my name. And so I know some people will say like go to someone's profile and do like the 5-3-1 rule, which like I get, but I sort of think that people have kind of like figured that out by now. They're kind of like, oh, this person's just like liking a bunch of my pictures, so I'll go to their profile. Or at least that's kind of how I feel when people do that to me now. But if like over the course of a week, I'm commenting on every picture that they're posting, they're gonna be like, who is this creepo? And go to my profile, and then they're gonna want to be friends. So that's what's working really well for me. And I literally comment on every post that I scroll past, and not just like an emoji, but like legit comment. Make sure you've read their caption. Don't like embarrass yourself. And then responding to people's stories. I feel like we hear this often. And responding to their stories gets you directly in their DMs and moves you more to the front of their page. And then the other thing that I changed recently is I actually have stopped using polls. I feel like the engagement on polls over the last like 6 months has decreased tremendously. I instead am using Google Forms. So I do have the swipe up option right now. So I will just say like, you know, if it's getting them into our coach sneak peek, swipe up, and they can literally make these so easy. 2, maybe 3 things, or people aren't going to fill them out. I have them put their name. It will collects their email. And then if it's something specific, like, I don't know, getting into our health and fitness accountability group, I'll just say, do you struggle more with fitness or nutrition? 3 things, that's it. Like, don't ask them their life story. You can talk to them about it in an email. You just need to get their form and get their information. That's it. If you don't have the swipe up option, you can link these Google Forms in your bio with a link tree or something like that. So you can just say, like, fill out the quick form in my bio. So easy. And again, for me, that versus like the polls of, I don't know, I forget what polls we used to use, but that has been way more effective for both coach sneak peeks and getting people plugged into accountability groups. So those are kind of my tips and tricks with social media right now. I hope that that's helpful. And I hope more than anything that you guys are just encouraged. Like I said, I wasn't the coach who blew up overnight. And I truly think that that has been a blessing for me because I don't think I could have sustained that. However, 3 years in, like I said, this will be our first 6-figure year, and we're not slowing down. We're going to keep going. We have quality coaches on our team who are here for the long haul, and I really think that it boils down to mindset and showing up every day. My like day-to-day business stuff does not look very different than it did in the beginning. Maybe doing some more recognition graphics, but I mean, we call it phase 1. Like, I have stayed in phase 1. I invite to coaching, I run killer accountability groups. And that has built a business. And you guys, where you're at right now, can do that. You don't need to be a 6-figure earner to do that, but it will get you to that point if you do it every single day.
Julie, I have a question. With growing your Instagram, what would you say has it been fully organic? Is it just by you? Like, how are you finding new followers or connecting with more people?
Yeah, so from about 6,000 to 10,000 followers, I used 21 Social, and then like got messages that my like account was gonna get blocked, and like it got kind of sketchy, and so I quit using them because I was freaked out by it. But I do think that finding specific accounts that have like 200,000, 100,000 followers that you know you will immediately connect with those other people has been really huge for me. So like right now there's an account called Risen Motherhood, which is a faith-based motherhood page. So I know immediately people following that page are likely moms, and they likely have a faith, which is like 2 major things in my life right now. So I will like go to their post, click on the last post, click on who's liked it, and just like mass follow everybody who's liked it, which typically there's like thousands of people who have liked it. So unless they have like a really weirdo profile picture where I'm like, yeah, no, not my person, then like I don't take the time to like go look at their profile right away. Once they follow me back, that's when I'm going to like put more effort into actually connecting with them. I send them a message and say, hey, thanks so much for following me. I'm a healthy living wife and new mom, just doing my best to share my tips and tricks along the way. And I'd love to get to know you as well. And I truly think that like last phrase of my little intro message, I'd love to get to know you as well, has been helpful in connecting with people, because I think a lot of coaches with those like connecting messages were like, let me know what you want me to share, or are you on a health and fitness journey too? Which, again, I think it did work for a while, but then a ton of people started using that phrase, and then it was kind of like Beachbody coach. And so, again, we just have to change with the times, and so that's what's working really well for me right now. But anyway, so that's like where I go find people.
Yeah, that's kind of what I started doing too, and what we recommend our team doing. And so you just will go and follow everyone, and you, oh, sorry, they're doing bath time, guys. Hold on.
Do you use an app to unfollow, or how do you unfollow?
So the app Cleaner actually just started working again.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because I thought it wasn't working. That's why I haven't been doing the mass following, because I'm afraid to go back and unfollow later.
Yeah. Sometimes I do just like by hand go back through and like mass follow. I'll just set like a 5-minute timer and mass unfollow. But the girls on my team said that they had like a way that like Cleaner was working for them. Because I think people were getting blocked from using it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to
only limited to 25 actions now, right? Like when you follow, do you only follow like 25 at a time?
So I don't follow with it.
I mean, when you
are you just saying like by hand?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like the worst example of this. I literally just like go through and follow, and I'm kind of like, okay, I feel like I'm getting too close, and then I'll stop. And then I'll do that again, like, an hour later. So I guess I don't actually know how many I'm following. Probably close to like 50.
Okay. Yeah. So just for the warning for the people who are newer, that you can't like follow 200 people at once, or Instagram will send you a message saying like, whoa, slow down, or it'll just block you.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you to be like, they think maybe you're like a computer doing it.
Yes. So yeah, I think that like, well, it was 40. You could do 40 actions in an hour. But maybe it went down. I don't know. I get warnings a lot where it's like, slow down before you do that. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So what would you say is like if there was like 3 things that it's like a non-negotiable every single day that you do, just because I know we have a lot of moms on here who are like, I'm trying my hardest. The kids were crazy, and then I had to work, and then I just got distracted. And it's, I personally like fit it in when I'm in my car waiting in line somewhere, or for pickup, or, like I'm doing 5 minutes here and there if I don't get that full power hour in. But I'm wondering for you, like if you are going to start something, what are like the top 3 things that you say every day you're going to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, personal development's going to happen no matter what, because I mean, that doesn't even like need its own specific time. I can listen to personal development while I'm playing with my baby, or while we're in the car going to the grocery store, or while I'm folding laundry. So that happens no matter what. My probably number one thing that I typically do first, which I think a lot of coaches would disagree with this, is I check in on my challenge group. Because while people say this isn't a like business building activity, in my mind it is, because those people have signed up with me. I have committed to helping them on their journey. And if they don't come back, then I've just lost business. But if they become a lifer, they get amazing results, they've had a great time in my challenge group, I could be building my next top coach. So my challenge group is actually what comes first. So I check in on my challenge group. I try to schedule out my like morning post for the group, so that's always done. And then I just make sure I've commented on everybody's posts. I don't know if you guys run them or individually, but I just run my groups by myself. And so that is the first thing that I do. Second thing, which is what most people are going to say is to do first, is my invites. So I'm going to make sure I at least get out 5 to 10 invites. That's kind of my number per day right now. My biggest downfall is that my inbox will have so many messages that I just haven't read yet. Half the time it's people asking me like where my couch is from. And it just takes me forever to go through those. So checking my challenge group and my invites are the two like non-negotiables that are going to happen. And truly, you guys, sometimes like the day just gets insane, or like my kid doesn't nap or whatever. And so once we put him down, I just try to communicate really well with my husband and say, our day was insane. I'm going to take 45 minutes this evening before we go to bed to knock out some emails. And we did an entire call on like how to navigate coaching with your husband. But I really think that that has been so helpful for us, just being like, hey, I need 45 minutes to like sit down and just blow through some like work right now. And since becoming a mom, the evening times have become like really productive work hours for me. And he has just been so gracious with that. I wouldn't say do that every night, because obviously you still need time for your marriage. But if that's 1-2 nights a week where you can sit down and get through some messages, that has been really helpful for me. And sometimes responding to people's messages who I haven't talked to in 48 hours, I really try to stick to 24 hours responding to people. But, you know, you also have a family and kids. And sometimes if people can't wait 48 hours, then maybe they're not your person. So that's kind of what's been working for us right now. And then again, I mean, Kelly, like you kind of said, like sometimes we'll be driving to like go get dinner in the evening or drive to go to the park or something. And I'll just be like, hey, I'm going to do this thing while we're in the car real quick. Is that okay? So he knows like I'm not just like zoning out on my phone, but I'm using this time to be productive during work. But if I don't say that, then like his feelings get hurt, or, you know, we have tiffs and stuff. So the communication part of that has been just really helpful for us.
When you do the invites, where do you go to, like when you sit down to invite, like where do you start to get the people to invite? Because I end up like, I feel like I go into like a rabbit hole where I'm like, who liked my post? I'll invite them. And then I'm like, okay, I think I invited them recently. And then, well, maybe I should engage with them first. And then I'm like, I've like connected with 20 people, but I've only invited 3 or something.
Yeah. So typically like I've upgraded from this ugly little thing to I now use the Rise Up Planner. I'm probably a forever pen and paper gal, just am. I can't get on the Google Street train because I just never do it. Yes, love it. Okay, so on this page, I actually don't even think I use it correctly, but it works, so whatever. Your customer hot list page, when I am like having good conversation with somebody and I think I will eventually want to invite them, I will write their name down. So that way I have a running list of people who I'm like, this girl was super cool, write her name down. I don't just like write everybody's name down who I have a conversation with until I'm like, this seems like I'd be friends with this person. Or maybe I someone's profile and I'm like immediately like, we're meant to be besties. I'll write their name down maybe before I've even talked to them. But that way I have a running list of people that I can invite. So I'm not like having to go search each day for like, okay, who am I going to invite today? It's already there. And that for me has been a lot easier. When I was just using like this thing and not like super profesh, I would write down the names of people that I was finding either via Facebook group or Instagram. The next week, those were the people that I was then starting a conversation with. And then the following week, those were the people I was inviting. So they were kind of in like a 3-week like funnel, basically. Did that help answer your question?
Yes, thanks. What % of people do you think come to you now versus now that you have the large following and versus you invite and join?
Yeah, a lot more. And I remember somebody saying this at the beginning was that if you put in the work of doing the invites now, then you won't have to put in nearly the amount of work, 2 years down the road. However, I think people like want that shift to happen so much faster than it does. People didn't start coming to me for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, year and a half. So, but I knew I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do the invites. And I still do my invites every single day. But yeah, I have a lot more people who now will like fill out my form and connect with me that way. But you have to build, you know, that credibility with people and that trust with people by showing up every day now, even when they're not just.
Oh, did she freeze for you guys?
Yeah.
Julie, you froze. I don't know if it's her internet or what. We lost you. I'll text her because she might be like, still talking.
No, she's there now.
Am I back?
Oh, not you. Okay, yeah. I was like, your screen was like, oh my God, I don't know if she knows that she's frozen. Can you hear that? Okay.
That's great. Thanks.
So one thing that I have to say about Julie that I started considering myself was, because our team operates very differently, or what I was taught, from Christina Delgado. If you go to Christina Delgado, you will see that she posts a lot. It's like, it's like, wow, you know, and I would get overwhelmed because Danielle McKean, her coach underneath Christina, she was kind of the same way. And it was like she was sharing a picture every day that wasn't like, or even twice a day, that was like, okay, it's a picture of just your house and you want to say it was a beautiful run. And it was like, okay, but I don't know if I'm really drawn to that. So I personally think going the route that Julie has, where it's, you don't need to have this pressure of feeling like you need to post every single day. And I said something to her, I was like, you have a different approach. And for some reason I have this like, when I follow you and see your stuff, like I'm excited when I see your post, or if I go to her profile, I haven't seen her in a while, I'm like, oh, what is Julie up to? And so that is probably what her followers are doing too. It's kind of like that jab, 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 right hook, where if you're always doing these right hooks and it's always like one invite, one, you know, every other day fitness, I just think that's when people are like, oh, we've heard that story. We've done that. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't work, you guys, but I think what Julia's done is that she's done it in a way where she's not just getting followers, but she's getting fans. And I think that's what we all want. If you go to her profile on Instagram, I'm always like, Julie, holy cow, like your engagement with every post is so freaking high. What's your magic tip? Like, what are you doing? And she's like, I don't know. Everyone loves pictures of my son. And I mean, and I think it's because she doesn't, like, Julie, you tell me, you're not using photos every single day from that day. You're using probably photos from just over time. And do you use an app like Plan or Planoly for that? Or you just, okay.
I'm like the most like off, like I'm like not good at planning my Instagram. I like fly by the seat of my pants, but I do think, like you said, so someone had told me a while ago, like look at what high schoolers are doing because that's what's going to become like the trend. And so I could see like younger people that I knew weren't posting multiple times a day, weren't posting even every day. It was more like you said, like when they did post every other day or every 2 days, it was like, oh, they posted, like, let me go see what they said. And that, because people are still seeing you every day if you're consistent on your story. But if you have a quality post versus just like mass quantity posts, I do think that has led to higher engagement. And if Christina Delgado is getting great engagement and like business from doing what she's doing right now, like I wouldn't change something that's not broken. So if you're using that strategy and it's working, like don't change it. But if it's not working, then look at other options for like, okay, well, how could I possibly change this so that my business will grow?
Yeah. So what do you tell your coaches necessarily? Because I think that's the hardest part for new coaches. And I know we have some new ones, relatively new coaches on here, that is, I think, the hardest transition of like not posting on social media and maybe sharing, you know, a photo once a week, every 2 weeks, whatever. And then all of a sudden you come into Beachbody and you're like, well, I see Kelly doing this and she does it so well. I got to follow in her footsteps, but I'm overwhelmed. I can't get to that every day. And then all of a sudden people start losing steam because they feel like they can't keep up. So I'm trying to go off the method of, hey, when you start, can you let's work on 3 posts a week possibly? Or like, what are you telling your new coaches?
Yeah. So I kind of say something similar. I'm like, let's do something more than you're doing right now. First of all, people need to know that you've started some sort of journey. And so that has to be like their first post, is like announcing that they have started a fitness journey and starting a coaching journey. And from there, I'm like, okay, let's show up on your story at least a few times a day. You don't have to post sample moves of your workout, post a picture of your watch or your shoes or whatever. Post something so people know you exercised today. We're going to start just doing that every day on your story. And then whatever you have posted before, like me before I started coaching, maybe once a month posting, maybe. And so for me, it was like, okay, if I can post like 1 or 2 times a week, like that's a good start for me. And so I never want someone to feel like they all of a sudden have to be this different person that they're not comfortable with yet, because they'll get there. Like give them a month, they're going to get there. But if you start, like right now, if you typically post once a week, okay, let's try posting 2 or 3 times this week and share something vulnerable in one of those posts. And then we'll kind of go from there. I have had some coaches who are super excited and they like can't help but just share, which is great. So I'm not going to be like, don't post. But I also want people to like, in a sense, like do what's natural while stepping out of their comfort zone. Like don't just try to be someone you're not. Don't try to be me. Be you, but like let's step out of your comfort zone some. So what does that look like for that specific person? Maybe it's 2 to 3 times that week. We're definitely showing up on the story at least 3 times a day. And then we'll kind of just work from there. But I always say, like, starting off, let's just do like 1 step further, 2 steps further than what you have been doing. And we're going to grow. You're going to learn and grow, and it'll start to become more comfortable.
I love it.
But you guys, stories is where it's at. I'm telling you.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, please do.
So I started about 5 months ago, and I only had like 200 followers. And I was one of those ones who really didn't use Instagram a lot. I was more of a Facebook girl. So I had to grow my following, and I'm up to like, I don't know, I think 1,700 or something now. But I've noticed recently I do a lot of stories, but it dropped a lot. Like it was like, you know, I don't know, over 200 views. And then now it's like, I'm lucky if I get 50. But I've been starting to post once a day now, and now I'm getting more likes and more engagement on my posts. So I guess I'm just, is it normal for it kind of to fluctuate of that way, or?
I don't know if that's normal. So had you like not been posting much before and now you've started posting? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I guess I was posting like maybe 2 or 3 a week, you know, kind of building it up. And now that I'm actually gaining more followers, that I'm doing more posts like once a day rather than like I still do a lot of stories, but I feel like now for me, I'm getting more engagement on posting once a day rather than like waiting a couple days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I would say if that's working for you, like do it. Don't change for you. If you're getting more engagement and followers from posting every day, for sure do it. Stories is not what's going to get you followers. Stories is where you're going to build those fans. And if your viewings are dropping in your stories, I will say I've heard some people say in general that their story views have dropped. So people are like, oh, it's the algorithm. I don't know if I buy that. I guess I would look more as like, what am I sharing on my stories? Am I providing value? Am I inspiring? Am I entertaining? Or am I educating? And that's kind of like how I like think about what I'm going to post on my stories. So I would just think like, am I posting things on my stories that people want to watch? And if not, then maybe think like, what can I do to change it up? Do I need to share a recipe? Do I need to share like a funny video of myself dancing, or, you know, whatever. Showing videos of my husband dancing is like the most engagement I ever get, like makes me want to vomit. But like, what do you need to do to like get people engaged on watching your stories? Because like sometimes I can tell like when I'm sharing things that people want to watch, my engagement like skyrockets on my stories, and then, you know, we'll kind of come back down to normal. So maybe you just do a little like introspective, like, okay, am what I'm sharing, would I want to watch it if I was somebody else? And if you have like a success partner or maybe somebody else on this team, have them watch it and like be open to, you know, like constructive criticism of like what maybe they would say to change as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions while she's here?
Oh, Adriana said, why do you do your group separately instead of a team? This is kind of funny. I like didn't know people did team groups till like not that long ago, because like I said, like I was me, myself, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I just thought you sign up as a coach and you start your own group. So that's what I taught all of my coaches when they signed up. They signed up and I was like, okay, when are you starting your first group? And I actually think that helped me build leaders from the beginning, because I was kind of like, okay, go get them. And they had to kind of be independent. I know I've heard a lot of other leaders say that the groups together works well because they can kind of feed off of each other. But yeah, we've always just run them individually. I think it gives them leadership. I know for me as a new coach, like running my own group really built me as a leader and built my confidence. And so I want that for my new coaches. I don't want them to feel like they're under my like wings all the time. I mean, they are, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't want them to feel like they can't like step up and like lead their own group. So I did hear one thing at leadership, which I have started implementing since, with my new coaches, the first 30 days that they are signed up as a coach, anybody they sign up, they can dump into my group. 30 days. That's it. Once they hit 30 days, they need to start their own group. Because that gives them somewhere to put people immediately if they sign people up in the first like or so. And I also tell them you can put people in my group, but you have to show up like a coach in that group. So you better be providing value, commenting on people's things, and doing that kind of stuff. And that kind of helps build them up too. So that is one thing that we have been doing a little bit differently since leadership. But after that, I'm like, all right, go run a group, pair up with somebody else maybe. So I do have coaches that like will pair up together and co-run a group. But I really think it's important to like step out and do your own thing, and which has worked really well for us.
Yeah, it's always good to hear what other teams do and how, you know, because it's like you just know what you've been taught and kind of you follow in those steps and then you tweak it as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Anyone else? Okay, well, we'll wrap it up. Got so many nuggets from you, Julie.
Hey, so glad.
And I just think it shows too, like I first off read The Compound Effect, that was my first book that I read. And I love that in The Slight Edge. And I really felt like it just dawned on me that I remember and I'm sure you felt this way too, and a lot of you guys do, well, you're going to have people that don't support you. It could be close friends. It could be family that don't quite understand what you're doing. But I just knew, like even my sister was like, Kelly, you're in a phase. Like you're going to do this for a month and then watch. It's not like I have so many friends that do that and then they stop. And I just remember telling myself, it gave me more fire to be like, watch, I'm going to be here in a year. I'm going to be here in 2 years, 3 years. And I think that's honestly how I've grown a sustainable business too, is because you begin to find those lifers and you got to have fun with it. So if you haven't read The Compound Effect, it's like what Julie said, or just listen to it on Audible. I don't know if it's on Audible. I read the book, I think, but I'm sure it is because it's a really popular book. But it's so crucial in our business to have blinders on. And to not focus on, oh my gosh, that post flopped, or I'm not getting anyone, or oh, that was a really tough month. I don't know if this is for me. And then you go down that rabbit hole, right? So yeah, read that if you haven't. Awesome. Okay, guys. Yeah, she said it's on Audible, so cool. And I put on the chat, you guys, group chat, I also put her Instagram name so you can just go check her out. Kind of what I love watching about Julie, she's consistent in her stories. Like every day she shares her devotional, every day she shares her workouts. It's like you kind of know and expect what you're going to get from her. And so it's just showing like to her audience, like, yes, you're going to get results if you stay consistent. And I'm sure that's how she gets a lot of people that flood her inbox that are like, I want to do what you're doing. You have energy as a new mom. I need to just, whatever it is that you're doing. She shares her energize. She shares when she's working, like she's sharing her daily things. So people know, what it's taking to get to where she's at now. So thanks, Julie.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to shoot them over to me, and I'll do my best to answer or send them to Kelly.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, guys.